Chapter is completely uploaded. You can see it there in the files, all the like whatever we completed and what we are going to complete, all the notes are there in the PDF format. So you can refer to it if you want to complete it, note writing part. Okay, so let us move to the next topic, that is elimination reaction. So the reactions of haloalkanes are classified into three. The first one is nucleophilic substitution reaction, and we discussed the mechanism of nucleophilic substitution SN1 and SN2 along with its stereochemical aspects and all. Then the second reaction, which is coming for the haloalkenes, is elimination reaction. This is actually a learned in grade 11. How many of you remember this reaction, dehydrohalogenation or beta elimination?
I just know it is called beta elimination, and it should have one alkene to one carbon and one hydrogen to other carbon.
Yeah, actually, this is like your removal of hydrogen and halogen. That's what the name dehydrohalogenation, which means DE. See, dehalogenation, dehydrogenation, it's technically means a removal. So removal of hydrogen and halogen happens and it follows the mechanism that is beta elimination mechanism. So that is what elimination reactions of haloalkenes are followed with the beta elimination. That means removal of hydrogen which is attached to beta carbon. What do you mean by beta and alpha carbon? What is an alpha carbon and what is a beta carbon?
Ma'am, the carbon attached to the halogen is alpha carbon, and the ones
Yeah, that means
alpha carbon are beta.
yeah, very good, Jonathan. So whatever is your functional group, in this case, we are talking about halogen, but whatever is your functional group, the carbon in which the functional group is attached is alpha carbon. Okay, and carbon next to the alpha carbon will be beta. So you can have one or more than one. I mean two beta carbons. If the halogen is on the nth carbon, then there will be only one beta carbon. So the meaning is the functional group, the carbon in which the functional group is attached is alpha, and the beta carbons are the one next to the alpha carbon. It could be one or two, depending on the structure.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
after solvent effects, you'll write the elimination reactions, right?
Yeah, solvent is effect was the last part of SN1 and SN2 I mean the reactions. That was the first reaction. Now this is the second reaction. Elimination. And this is what?
How many reactions do you have in this chapter?
For haloalkane, after elimination, there is reaction with metal, and that is the only three reaction. Then we have to discuss the reactions of haloarenes. Actually, that part will go very smooth. Like, there is not much, and some of the reaction.
What, ma'am? Dehydrohalogenation and then?
Reaction with metal.
No, Moses sign.
Beta.
Oh, ma'am, it's beta.
Beta elimination, yeah. For the beta elimination, the reagents used are alcoholic potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide. Here you can see this is what you need to look into. Potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide can also act as a substitution reaction, as a reagent for the substitution reaction. But that is when we use aqueous condition. That means if you use aqueous NaOH, what happens is like the chlorine or the halogen will substitute it with OH group. But if you use alcoholic KOH, then reaction will follow elimination, that is beta elimination, and what you get is an alkene. So that is the main thing, that writing alcoholic is very important for an elimination reaction. If you simply write KOH or NaOH, that's not correct, because only under alcoholic conditions, these alkalis, KOH and NaOH, act as elimination reagent. Fine. So this is what the introduction. Last year also we discussed the same thing as a method of the preparation of alkene. As you can see in the next diagram. Here, this is what reaction happened. The base, the negative. So if you take NaOH as a base, the OH negative, that is what B minus mean. The OH negative will be attacking the hydrogen, which is on the beta position, and the halogen is also removed, that is the X group, and forming a double bond between alpha and beta carbon. So the double bond is formed. That means what you're getting is an alkene after the dehydrohalogenation of haloalkanes. The same reaction we have discussed last year also. So you can just go back to those topics just to revise. So am I clear with this one? Dehydrohalogenation.
Ma'am, the base is from the reagent.
Yeah.
Always.
Alcoholic NaOH or alcoholic KOH.
Okay, ma'am.
So NaOH and KOH is a base, right? The alkali, that means they are part of base. Yes. So here in this beta elimination, you need to know what is the reagent. The mechanism is the method is like they are undergoing a beta elimination to remove a hydrogen and halogen. So halogen and hydrogen with respect to beta position. The hydrogen will be with respect to beta position of the functional group, that is halogen, and which will be leading it to the elimination to form an alkene. You are getting an alkene as the product. As the hydrogen which has been removed from the beta position, the mechanism is known as beta elimination. Am I clear? Any doubt in this?
Could you say what is aqueous KOH give again? Alcoholic gives this. What does aqueous do?
Okay, I'll give you a good example. CH3, CH2, Cl. Okay, and my reagent is aqueous KOH. The product will be CH3, CH2, OH. A substitution. Cl and OH both are nucleophile, right? So OH minus will substitute, or you can say it will be removing chlorine and OH group will be substituted. So it's a substitution reaction if you use KOH in aqueous condition. The same reaction, if you conduct it under alcoholic KOH, here what you will get is CH2 double bond CH2, an alkene, because it has undergone a beta elimination. So chlorine and one hydrogen will go. So you get an alkene. So it purely depends on the reagent, the condition, aqueous or alcoholic condition.
Ma'am, is the first one a nucleophilic substitution?
Yeah, substitution reaction. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, will HCl also be found as a side product?
In which one?
In the second one.
In second one, what are the products? You will get H2O and Cl minus.
Okay, you'll get H2O.
Because OH minus takes this proton and Cl will be removed out. So OH minus plus H, H2O, and Cl will be existing as Cl minus ion. Any halide. So this is what generally happens when we do the beta elimination. Okay, now let me ask a question. Okay, the question is CH3, CH, Cl, CH2, CH3. This is the compound and you are treating it with alcoholic KOH. What will be the product? How many products are possible and what are those products? Or beta hydrogen, which beta hydrogen will be removed in this reaction? This is alpha and these are beta carbons, and hydrogens on beta carbon will be beta hydrogen. So what will happen here? Am I audible?
So
Yeah.
can you but 1 ENE or but 2 ENE?
Okay, let me see both the case. If beta hydrogen is removed from the first carbon, then the product expected is CH2 double bond CH, CH2, CH3. Right? If beta hydrogen is removed from the one which is beside this side of the alpha carbon, then the product formed will be CH3, CH double bond CH, CH3. So one is a 1-butene and the other one is a 2-butene. This is 2-butene and this is 1-butene. So last year also we have discussed this point. There is a rule which will be helpful for us in determining what will be the major product in this reaction. Which one will be major product, 1-butene or 2-butene? Anyone? Even if it's a no also, please unmute yourself and talk to. Otherwise, no, I will not understand whether you are there or not.
Repeat the question.
There are two products in this reaction, right? 1-butene and 2-butene. In which will be the major product? Because in organic reaction, always one of the product will be dominating over the other. Or you can say that there will be one product which we call it as major product and the other one will be minor product. Because beta elimination, but here you have got two different beta carbons. So elimination can happen at any of the beta hydrogen. So there are two possibilities for beta hydrogen elimination and you're getting two different products, but one of the product will be dominating. And there is a particular rule that we discussed last year to determine the major product. Last year in the sense, last Feb. Not exactly last year. Rule. Did we discuss or anyone remember this reaction?
Not really.
Okay, Zaitsev rule is basically applicable. Markovnikov's rule is actually for addition and Zaitsev rule is actually for elimination. That is a major difference. Here they say that in dehydrohalogenation reaction, the preferred product, that means the major product, is that alkene which has greater number of alkyl groups attached to the doubly bonded carbon atom. So if you look into this example, this is forming a pent-2-ene and pent-1-ene as the main products, which is 81%. That is the major product is this one, pent-2-ene or 2-pentene. And the minor product is pent-1-ene. The reason is, if you look in the number of alkyl groups attached to the doubly bonded carbon atom, the one with more alkyl group attached to double bond will be the main product. So after analyzing the two products, you can see here there is only hydrogen on this double bonded carbon. But when you look into here, there is alkyl group is there and this side also there is one alkyl group. Like that, if you look into the product and the one with more number of alkyl group attached to double bond will be the major product. That is how you decide the major
But
product.
in pent-1-ene there is 3, right? 3. I mean there's a longer alkyl.
This is a 3 carbon but considered as one chain.
One chain.
Because carbons 4 valency, 2 is already double bond. One is that long alkene chain and the other one is hydrogen. Like that only 4 bonds only by carbon. You cannot take these 3 are different. They are together as one chain. Or there was a one shortcut last year we discussed rather than explaining in terms of the number of alkyl group, and that was hydrogen will be removed from beta carbon containing less number of hydrogen. Less number of hydrogen atoms. So here when you look into this carbon, there are 2 hydrogen. Here you have 3 hydrogen. So the one side you have 2 hydrogen. This is the beta carbon and this is also a beta carbon. One side you have 2, other side you have 3. So when you analyze, the one with less number of hydrogen, that is will be removed and that will be your major product. This is what you will check. That is the another way of explaining Seitzet rule, and it's very easy in terms of hydrogen, because otherwise you have to write the product, then only you have to identify whether major or minus. But if you apply this way, you can just write the product directly, the major product. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So please make a note of Seitzet rule with this example. So that's what I have to discuss in case of elimination reaction.
Ma'am, so there's only one type of elimination.
Yeah. In
Okay.
hydrohalogenation will follow beta elimination. This particular reaction, it is beta elimination. Can I change the slide? Done. Can I change the slide?
Yes, ma'am. It's the screenshot is in the chat.
Okay, fine. So elimination versus substitution, because nucleophiles are present in both substitution and elimination reactions. If you see the reagent contains a nucleophile, whether it's a elimination or substitution. So we can see that always a bulky haloalkane will be followed by SN1 reaction because carbocations are more stable in that way. Primary haloalkane prefers to undergo SN2 mechanism because the attack from the rear side is possible. I'm not moving into SN1 and SN2 in detail because we are discussed with all the aspects. So you can refer to it later if you don't know why it is SN1 and SN2. So normally in terms of the structure of substrate and nucleophile, you can predict whether it's undergo elimination substitution. Again, this depends to case to by case. You cannot generalize this reaction. I've told you before also SN1 and SN2 depends on the so many factors, not only just their identity, their structure and the middle carbocation form, their stability, factors affecting the stability of carbocation. So many are there, but generally you can have an idea in under which condition it will undergo SN1 and SN2 and the elimination. So bulkier groups, nucleophile and tertiary haloalkane, lead to the elimination reaction. That means they prefer elimination if the nucleophile is a bulkier group and haloalkenes are tertiary. There is nothing much to note down in this case, as it's not much important for us because we are just looking into nucleophilic substitution and elimination separately. But this is just to give you an overall idea. Okay, so that means we are done with elimination, the second reaction of haloalkane. And now the third reaction for haloalkane is the reaction with metals. Reaction with metals are of two different types. First is formation of organometallic compound like Grignard reagent. And the second one is Wurtz reaction. That also we discussed last year. What is Wurtz reaction? Where we have studied Wurtz reaction last year in organic. Anybody know?
Is it just reactions with alkanes, the chemical properties?
Yeah, here alkanes are formed from alkyl halide with sodium in dry ether condition. Anyway, I guess when you see the reaction, at least few of you will be able to recollect it. Let's go to the first type. That is organometallic compound. What do you mean by organometallic? Maybe it's the first time you will be getting this name. What is organometallic compound? What you can understand from this term organo and metallic?
Some organic metal.
That means an organic compound with metals. So any
So
organic
basically, it's compounds like silver and all, right? Lower reactive metals, because only silver can form covalent.
Organometallic mean if you have a compound, say example, I got a compound like this, C6H5Fe. Just an example, where you can see an organic chain is bonded to a metal. It could be any metal, not restricted to only silver or transition metal. It could be any metal, could be magnesium, sodium, anywhere. If you find usually organic part bonded to the metal, that is what known as organometallic compound. And one category of organometallic compound is Grignard reagent. That is what prepared from this reaction. So all the organic metallic compound cannot be prepared from haloalkane. Only one type of organometallic compound known as Grignard reagent will be prepared in this method. So organic metallic compound is that organometallic. That is a general term under which you have different types of organometallic compound and one type is Grignard reagent. Okay, anyway, let's look into this in detail so that you will get a better idea. Organometallic compound are formed when haloalkenes reacts with, as you can see, this is a haloalkene. When you treat it with magnesium in dry ether, you are getting magnesium added between the alkyl and bromine. Magnesium is added between these two. These type of compounds are called Grignard reagent. Okay, so Grignard reagent has got a lot of application in the coming organic chapters. So there, this reaction will be applicable. So this is a very, very important reaction. Here you are preparing a Grignard reagent. So Grignard reagent is RMgX. R is an alkyl part, carbon chain. Magnesium is the metal and X is any halide, chloride or bromide or iodide, whatever. So this is the general format of Grignard reagent. In Grignard reagent, we only use magnesium as a metal. So Grignard reagent is a one example of organometallic compound where the metal used is magnesium. It can be in organometallic compound, generally the metal can be anything, but in one category that is Grignard reagent, the metal we prefer is magnesium. So this is a very important reaction because here what you get is an important reagent. This is a reagent for many of the reaction that you're going to discuss in next two chapters. So that is why this reaction of highly important. You are able to prepare Grignard reagent, which is alkyl magnesium halide, RMgX. Very, very, very important to know about the Grignard reagent. There are a lot of application and the uses for Grignard reagent in next chapters. So is it clear how we can prepare a Grignard reagent? from alkyl halide?
Yes, ma'am.
So please make a note and
Can you
write down this
explain again?
equation. Sorry?
Can you explain it again, like in brief?
Yeah. Reaction with metal. So we are still discussing alkyl halide, how it reacts with metal. So basically the reaction with metal is of two types. And the first one is preparation of an organometallic compound called Grignard reagent. So generally organometallic compound mean a carbon chain bonded with metal. So there are a lot of categories of organometallic compound. Okay, but a Grignard reagent is one among them where magnesium is used as the metal and it is bonded to carbon one side, that is your organic part, and halogen on the other side. This is what known as Grignard reagent.
Ma'am,
Or
so Grignard reagents, ma'am, they'll have a carbon on the left side, magnesium in the middle, and on the other side will be your
halide, any halide.
any halide, right?
Yeah, that is why it is known as alkyl magnesium halide. So the general name for Grignard reagent is alkyl magnesium halide. Alkyl can be anything, methyl, ethyl, propyl, butyl, and halogen can also be chlorine, bromine, iodine, fluoride, etc. So magnesium will be fixed. So in Grignard reagent, the metal we use is magnesium. And to prepare Grignard reagent, what you have to do is like you take your alkyl halide and treat it with metal magnesium in dry ether condition so that the magnesium will be added between the alkyl and the halogen so that you get a RMGX format. Am I clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's discuss few more important points of Grignard reagent. In RMGX, you can see there are two types of bonding. The first bonding is between R and Mg, that is your carbon chain and magnesium. And the second bonding is between the metal and halogen. So normally MgCl2 or whatever the normal compound, it will be ionic bonding. So same thing happens, a metal and a non-metal, the bonding between them is ionic. And here the R and Mg bond is covalent but polar in nature. It's covalent bond with some partial charge. So example, if you write R, Mg, X, this is a covalent bond that's not formed by sharing transfer, electron transfer. It is formed by the sharing of electron. But there are some polarity because we know that metals are highly electropositive. So there will be high charge of positive on metal and the carbon chain, the alkyl group will have a negative. So this means Grignard reagent is one of an example where alkyl group carries a negative charge. Because usually we have seen in so many reactions that carbon chain or the alkyl group is getting positive charge. And here this is one example where a carbon chain is having a negative charge because it has been bonded to the metal which is more positive than the carbon. So that is what Grignard reagent is highly important. It's a very reactive, highly reactive, and it can react with any compound containing protons. What do you mean by proton? What is a proton? H plus. That means any source of proton like water, alcohol or amine, if they react, you are getting the reaction. And the example is given below. RMGX, when it reacts with H2O, you are getting a alkane. Say example, if we go for this CH3, MgCl, if it treated with water, what will be the product here? What is the product here? What will be the product?
Ma'am, CH4.
CH4, because it has a tendency to take protons from the reagent like H2O. So that proton will be added to the carbon chain and the byproduct will be MgOHCl.
Ma'am, so in Grignard reaction, the proton will replace the MgX, right? Will substitute the MgX.
Yeah, in this case, yeah. And if it a Grignard reagent, if it is reacts with any source of proton, this is will happen. If you treat it with alcohol, also same thing you will get. That means it will accept hydrogen and forms a normal alkane followed with some byproducts. So this is what the importance of Grignard reagent. Any doubt? So that means silence is yes or no.
No, ma'am, no doubts as of right now.
Okay, thank you, Nabi. Right. So next, the last and the final reactions for haloalkane is Wurtz reaction. In Wurtz reaction, the alkyl halide reacts with sodium in dry ether condition to give you a hydrocarbon which contains double the number of carbon atom present in the halide. This is also we discussed in detail last year, Wurtz reaction. So please refer those notes if you got any doubts, or there are a lot of examples also we discussed last year. So one simple example I can give you is here. When you treat it with sodium in presence of dry ether, you can see you will get a ethane which was double the number of carbon you take because it was a chloromethane. One carbon haloalkane and the product is a ethane. So the double the number of carbon atom. So this is what Wurtz reaction. Here you are getting us more number of carbon, compound with more number of carbon or double the number of carbon from the starting compound. I hope you all are making notes. So from today, as I told you before, you have to revise what we are discussing on a daily basis. So next day, you will revise this topic and come so that it will be easy to understand as its continuation topic. Like if you do for 2 weeks, you will find a difference. Like this way it will be more easy because anyway, there is only a few topic will be covered in each subject. So you can manage that on a daily basis. And if you have any doubt next day itself, you can clear it also. So that's what the reactions of haloalkanes. So we are done the reactions of haloalkanes here. So any doubt to anyone?
No, ma'am.
Next is the last part of this chapter is chemical reactions of haloarenes. In haloarenes, nucleophilic substitution is not very much favorable. And there are many reasons why nucleophilic substitution is not favored by haloarenes. Because in haloalkane, the major reaction what they undergo was nucleophilic substitution. That is a reaction which we discussed in detail. But when it comes to haloarenes, that is a benzene ring compound with halogen, the substitution, nucleophilic substitution is very rare or less reactive. The first reason is resonance effect. What do you mean by a resonance effect? What is a resonance effect? Taisir, what is resonance?
Ma'am, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but what you know, it's okay. Even if you're saying something wrong or not correct, that's okay. But please respond. From that only I can understand where I have to give more focus and what should be my pace for this lesson or topic. If you're keeping quiet,
It's like
uh,
ma'am like a vibration type. Ma'am like it reflects or something.
resonance last year when we discussed about benzene, we discussed that it is the shift of the negative or the electron cloud. Resonating structures. We discussed
Ma'am,
about resonating
it is the
structure.
shift of the.
Electron pairs or the electron cloud throughout the ring. See, benzene,
From negative to positive.
for example, I can give you a simple benzene. We know that the double bonds are in alternative position, right? So what happened? The resonance mean the position of the double bond changes. So what happened in the next moment? The benzene ring will look like this. They are identical, but the position is shifting. That's what the reason why we used to draw the benzene ring as one circle inside, indicating that the double bond is not staying in one place. Instead, it is shifting throughout the carbon in the chain. That is what we drew a circle inside.
Ma'am, so that's a result of resonance effect.
This is known as
Continuous.
resonance in benzene, not the result of resonance effect. This is the resonance which is happening for a pure benzene, like a normal benzene.
Ma'am, isn't the circle meaning it has delocalized electrons?
That's what delocalization mean what? Delocalized. That means not localized on a particular point. DE means this is the opposite. It's not localized or on a particular area. That electrons are moving throughout. That means without any particular location, not focusing or not orienting on a particular location, it is moving throughout. That is what delocalization means, right? So that's what delocalization. So these two are resonating structure. The benzene I don't know, it's coming error. Yeah, the two structures of benzene, these are resonating structures. Okay, that's why we used both the two-headed arrows indicating that both are same, which is equivalent to draw like this. So that is happening in the case of a normal benzene. That is what we discussed last year, that carbon-carbon bonds in benzene is neither a single bond nor a double bond because electron cloud is delocalized and moving throughout. This was in the case of a pure benzene.
So it will have partial double bonds, right?
Yeah, partial double bond character, not a 1.5 bond. Last year we discussed that. So here what happens is, like in this case, haloarenes mean a benzene ring with a chlorine or something, halogen. So what happens is, like already the ring inside the ring, the electrons are delocalized, they are moving throughout. On top of that, as you can see in the diagram on the right side, the electron pairs, because chlorine has got 3 lone pairs of electron, those electron pair will try to come to the ring. Okay, and here you can see the chlorine is getting a partial double bond. I mean the carbon chlorine bond is getting a partial double bond character. And the shift is happening throughout the ring. That means, as you can see over here, the electron pair on the halogen atom are in resonance with the pi electrons of the benzene ring. That means the carbon chlorine bond acquires a partial double bond character due to the resonance. If a partial double bond character is there, mean breaking the bond won't be easy. That is why In a nucleophilic substitution, the bond should be broken and the new bond should be formed. So here that will be difficult because it's not a single bond as we expect. Instead, it is a double bond between the carbon and chlorine. So this bond cleavage will be difficult. That's the first reason why haloarenes does not undergo nucleophilic substitution.
Class is over, right? Because maximum started the meeting.
Yeah, it's 11:20 is the time, so I'm finished keeping it here, and I'll discuss it again.
Because maximum started the meeting.
Okay, fine. So thank you. Please read and come for tomorrow's discussion. Yeah.
Right, ma'am.
Thank you so
ma'am.
much. Thank you.
Ma'am.